Young intern walks in covered in mud. The CEO's unexpected reaction changes everything. Before we go further, please ensure to like, share, and subscribe for more interesting stories like this one. The room was sleek and polished, floor-to-ceiling windows casting natural light over the long, gleaming table that dominated the space. Soft murmurs filled the air as candidates shifted nervously in their chairs, dressed in crisp suits and pressed dresses, all eagerly awaiting their turn. The atmosphere buzzed with the quiet tension of ambition, each hopeful eyeing the others as potential competition. Suddenly, the heavy door swung open. All heads turned as a young man stepped inside, his entrance unlike any that came before. Mud stained his shirt, caked dirt covered his leather shoes, and streaks of grime marked his face and arms. His clothes, far from the polished business attire around him, were worn and stained. There was no hesitation in his stride. He moved forward with a quiet determination that cut through the surprise lingering in the room. Whispers spread like wildfire. Some exchanged glances, eyebrows raised in disbelief or skepticism. "Who let him in?" one woman muttered under her breath. Others stared openly, eyes flickering between confusion and judgment. It was impossible to ignore the stark contrast between this muddy figure and the neatly dressed professionals seated at the table. The young man's appearance disrupted the orderly professionalism of the space, and the room collectively held its breath. At the head of the table sat the millionaire CEO, a man known for his uncompromising standards and shrewd decision-making. His eyes remained calm, scanning the room with the practiced gaze of someone who had seen countless interviews and countless applicants. Yet, when they landed on the young intern, something shifted. Not a flicker of disdain, but a quiet intrigue. Unlike the others, his expression was unreadable, holding neither judgment nor immediate dismissal. The silence grew heavier as the young man approached the table, every step echoing softly in the otherwise hushed room. The candidates and staff shifted uncomfortably, sensing an unspoken challenge in the air. This was more than an interview, it was a moment that demanded more than surface impressions. The young intern took a seat, brushing the worst of the mud from his sleeves, yet he made no apology for his state. His eyes met the CEO's, steady and unwavering, as if daring the man to see beyond the dirt and grime. Around the table, the unspoken judgments hung thick, preconceived notions about professionalism, success, and worthiness, all based on appearances. It was a reminder of how often people are judged not for their character or potential, but for how they look at a glance. The tension in the room was palpable, a quiet battleground between bias and open-mindedness. Yet, amidst the judgment, the CEO's silence spoke volumes. He wasn't rushing to conclusions or dismissing the young man outright. Instead, his calm gaze suggested a willingness to listen, to understand, and perhaps to see beyond the obvious. It was a stark contrast to the others' reactions, foreshadowing a deeper kind of evaluation, one that valued character and resilience over polish and perfection. Outside the glass walls of the interview room, the city hummed on, indifferent to the quiet drama unfolding within. But inside, this moment marked a turning point, not just for the young intern covered in mud, but for everyone present. It was a lesson in humility, perception, and the true meaning of professionalism. The scene closed on that charged silence, leaving an open question in the air. Would the man's muddy exterior mask a potential worth more than polished appearances could ever reveal? The answer, for now, lay with the CEO, the ultimate arbiter of opportunity. This was more than an interview. It was a challenge to break free from assumptions and to find value where it was least expected. And in that moment, the room held its breath, waiting for what would come next. Chongti ding dong, the room had settled into an uneasy silence after the young intern's muddy entrance. The initial shock and whispers had faded, replaced by a heavy sense of anticipation. The polished faces of the interviewers and candidates now reflected curiosity mixed with skepticism. All eyes subtly turned toward the millionaire CEO, who sat quietly at the head of the table, his expression unreadable but attentive. Breaking the silence, the CEO finally spoke. His voice was calm but carried authority. "Tell me what happened on your way here." It was a simple question, yet it carried weight, offering the young man a chance to explain the story behind his disheveled appearance. The intern took a deep breath, his gaze steady as he began to recount the events. "On my way here, I saw an elderly woman in trouble," he said softly. Her wheelchair had tipped over in the mud, and she couldn't get back up. He paused, searching the room for understanding. I didn't think twice. I helped her. I got dirty lifting her back into her chair, making sure she was okay before I continued. His voice carried a sincere humility, his muddy clothes a testament to that moment of kindness. As he spoke, subtle flashbacks played out in the minds of those present, visions of a muddy park, a frail woman struggling helplessly, and a strong young man kneeling in the earth, steadying her with determined care. These images gave life to his words, transforming abstract judgment into a vivid scene of compassion. The atmosphere shifted. The initial harsh glances softened, replaced by thoughtful expressions. The CEO leaned forward slightly, his eyes reflecting respect rather than doubt. He understood that this young man's true worth wasn't measured by his appearance but by the integrity he showed when no one was watching. Others around the table exchanged looks of quiet reflection. The story reminded them of the human side often lost in the competitive world of business, a side that valued courage, empathy, and selflessness above polished suits and perfect resumes. The intern's narrative revealed a deeper truth. That character often reveals itself in unexpected moments, away from spotlight and judgment. His willingness to act regardless of consequence spoke louder than any carefully rehearsed answer could. The CEO's demeanor changed subtly but unmistakably. He was no longer just an observer but a listener, appreciating the courage it took to admit vulnerability and to wear one's actions openly, even if it meant appearing imperfect. This moment in the interview room became less about credentials and more about heart. The young man's story cast a new light on him, a light that illuminated the importance of kindness as a core strength. As the intern finished, a quiet respect settled over the room. The weight of assumptions began to lift, replaced by a renewed sense of what truly matters. The CEO's next words would carry this revelation forward. But for now, the story stood on its own. A powerful reminder that greatness is often found in the humblest acts, and that true potential shines brightest when one chooses compassion over convenience. In that quiet space, the room was transformed. Judgment gave way to understanding. Appearances no longer dictated value, and the narrative of a muddy young man became a lesson in empathy, courage, and the enduring power of doing what is right. Chongti ding dong. The room was thick with anticipation as the CEO finally rose from his seat. His eyes swept across the gathered candidates and staff, the tension palpable after the young intern's muddy entrance and heartfelt story. The polished space, with its gleaming table and soft ambient light, seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the verdict that could change everything. The CEO's voice broke the silence, calm yet resolute. I want to address what we've all witnessed today, he began, pausing to let his words settle. This young man walked in covered in mud, a sight none of us expected in a professional setting. But what truly matters, he continued, is not the dirt on his clothes, but the integrity behind his actions. He moved slowly, each step deliberate. On his way here, he chose compassion over convenience. He didn't hesitate to help someone in need, even when it meant risking his own appearance and possibly his opportunity. That choice reveals a strength of character that no resume can capture. Heads nodded subtly around the room. Some faces reflected surprise, others a dawning respect. The CEO's words challenged the room to rethink its assumptions, inviting everyone to see beyond superficial standards. In leadership and success, he emphasized, character is the foundation. It shapes decisions, inspires teams, and builds trust. The ability to act with courage and kindness, especially when it's inconvenient, is what separates true leaders from the rest. The lighting softened, casting a warm glow that seemed to embrace the young intern, highlighting the earnest expression on his face. Gentle, hopeful music began to swell, underscoring the moment's significance. The CEO's eyes locked with the intern's. I am offering you this internship, he declared, because you've demonstrated qualities far more valuable than polished shoes or a spotless shirt. A ripple of murmurs spread through the room. Some colleagues exchanged glances, reevaluating their initial judgments. Others sat quietly, absorbing the lesson unfolding before them. The decision resonated deeply, not just as a hiring choice but as a statement of values. It was a powerful reminder that true potential lies in resilience, empathy, and moral courage. The CEO's words served as a beacon, inspiring all present to reconsider their definitions of professionalism and worth. His speech wasn't just about one candidate. It was a call to embrace humanity within the corporate world. The intern, still slightly muddy but now glowing with quiet pride, straightened in his chair. The moment validated his journey and the choices that had led him here. As the CEO concluded, the atmosphere shifted from skepticism to hope. The room, once divided by appearances, united in respect for a young man who dared to be himself, imperfections and all. This scene marked a turning point, illustrating that leadership is measured not by how one looks but by the courage to do what is right. It set a tone of empowerment that would echo beyond the walls of that interview room. And so, with a firm handshake and a nod of approval, the CEO opened the door to opportunity, not just for the intern, but for everyone willing to look beyond the surface and value what truly matters. Changti Ding Dawn. Changti Di Dawn, the first day of the internship, was nothing like the young man had imagined. The polished interview room and skeptical eyes had given way to a bustling office filled with challenges and expectations. Despite the lingering traces of mud on his clothes, the intern stepped into his new role with quiet determination. This was his chance to prove that the CEO's faith was not misplaced. From the outset, he threw himself into every task with vigor. Whether it was poring over complex reports, assisting colleagues on tight deadlines, or staying late to ensure projects were flawless, his dedication never wavered. But what truly set him apart wasn't just his work ethic, it was the kindness and respect he showed to everyone he met. No task was too small, no person beneath his notice. His colleagues, initially skeptical, began to notice the difference. The intern's genuine willingness to learn and his unpretentious approach earned nods of approval and, eventually, friendship. Mentors took him under their wing, impressed by his humility and eagerness to grow. In team meetings, his insights were thoughtful, his questions sharp, and his attitude uplifting. Challenges came, as they always do, but the intern met each with resilience. When mistakes happened, he owned them, learning quickly and moving forward. His integrity became a beacon in an environment often clouded by competition and pressure. Slowly, the narrative shifted, from the muddy outsider to a valued member of the team. One day, during a critical project presentation, the intern's hard work shone brightly. His thorough preparation and calm demeanor impressed senior managers, securing praise and opening doors for new responsibilities. It was a milestone that proved his place was earned, not given. Beyond the tasks and deadlines, the intern's journey was about transformation. The CEO's decision to look beyond appearances had sparked something greater, a continuous path of growth fueled by character and commitment. Each small victory reinforced the lesson that success is built on consistent effort and genuine values. The office atmosphere, once tinged with doubt, gradually warmed. Stories of the intern's kindness spread. Helping a stressed teammate, volunteering for extra duties, offering encouragement during tough days. His presence became a quiet source of motivation, reminding everyone that compassion and dedication matter as much as skill. As weeks turned into months, the intern's confidence blossomed. He learned not only the technical skills required, but also the nuances of leadership, teamwork, and accountability. The challenges that once seemed daunting became opportunities to excel. This new beginning was not simply a chapter in his career but a testament to resilience and heart. It underscored a truth the CEO had seen from the start: real potential thrives when given a chance, regardless of first impressions. In this ongoing journey, the intern became a living example of how integrity paves the way for success. His story inspired those around him to look deeper and value substance over style, reminding all that true leadership grows from the seeds of character and perseverance. With every task completed and every relationship built, the intern wrote a new narrative, one where dedication, kindness, and hard work led not only to respect but to real, lasting achievement. In the quiet aftermath of the young intern's journey, a deeper conversation unfolds, one that extends far beyond the walls of a corporate office. It's a moment to pause and reflect on the lessons hidden within a story that challenges how we see one another. Too often, society rushes to judgment based on appearances, letting surface details overshadow true character. We categorize people by their clothes, their looks, or the small mistakes that make them seem different. This instinct to judge quickly is ingrained, but it blinds us to the qualities that truly matter: empathy, courage, and kindness. The story of the intern isn't just about one muddy moment, it's a mirror held up to our biases. It asks us, how often do we miss someone's potential because we focus on how they look rather than who they are? How many opportunities slip away when we let assumptions decide someone's fate? This isn't just a corporate tale, it's a universal truth that touches all aspects of life. Whether in schools, neighborhoods, or workplaces, the courage to look beyond appearances can transform lives. Empathy allows us to connect with others on a deeper level, recognizing struggles and strengths that aren't immediately visible. Kindness, especially when it's inconvenient or unnoticed, is the quiet force that shapes communities and builds trust. Real-world examples echo this lesson. From leaders who rise despite humble beginnings to everyday heroes who choose compassion over convenience, history is filled with stories reminding us that greatness often hides beneath rough exteriors. These examples challenge us to reconsider what success looks like and who deserves a chance. The courage shown by the intern, stepping into an interview with muddy clothes and an honest story, reveals the power of authenticity. It teaches that vulnerability is not weakness but a foundation for genuine connection and growth. When we embrace courage, we open doors not only for ourselves but for others. This reflection isn't just for those watching the story unfold, it's a call to action. It urges viewers to examine their own judgments, to question the stereotypes they may unconsciously hold, and to practice empathy in everyday interactions. Small acts of kindness and understanding can ripple outward, creating environments where everyone has the chance to shine. As the narrative breaks the fourth wall, it invites self-awareness. It asks, who have you overlooked? What assumptions have you made? How can you be the change that sees beyond the surface? These questions are the seeds of transformation, encouraging us to build a more inclusive and compassionate world. In embracing these lessons, we redefine what it means to lead and succeed. Leadership rooted in empathy fosters trust and inspires others. Success measured by character creates lasting impact beyond titles and trophies. Ultimately, the story reminds us that beneath every surface lies a human story waiting to be heard. By choosing courage over judgment, kindness over indifference, we open ourselves to richer, more meaningful connections. This moment of reflection closes with hope that each of us can become more aware, more understanding, and more willing to see the extraordinary in the ordinary. The journey isn't just the intern's, it's ours too. Together, we can rewrite the story of how we value one another and build a future where empathy leads the way. Years had passed since the day the young intern walked into the sleek office, his clothes stained with mud but his spirit unbroken. What began as a simple act of kindness had blossomed into a powerful legacy that extended far beyond the walls of the company. Now a respected leader, the intern, no longer defined by his past appearance, stood confidently at the helm of important projects, guiding teams with a blend of wisdom and compassion. His journey from a hesitant newcomer to a trusted mentor was a testament to the enduring power of integrity and perseverance. In meetings, he spoke not just about strategy and goals, but about the values that had shaped his path: empathy, courage, and honesty. His influence inspired colleagues to rethink their own approach to leadership and collaboration. Under his guidance, the workplace evolved into a community where individuals felt seen and valued, regardless of background or circumstance. Outside the office, his impact reached even further. He became an advocate for kindness and inclusion in the wider community, sharing his story at schools and events to encourage others to look beyond appearances. His message resonated deeply, reminding people that character is the foundation of true success. From a quiet corner, the CEO observed this transformation with pride. His decision to take a chance on a muddy intern had not only changed one life but had sparked a ripple effect of positive change throughout the organization and beyond. The CEO's faith in character over convention was vindicated in the most meaningful way. The atmosphere in the company now carried a renewed sense of hope and possibility. Celebrations of achievements were also celebrations of the values that made those successes genuine. The intern's story had become a beacon, a living example of how one act of kindness can lead to lasting change. If you enjoyed this story, ensure to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing, heartfelt stories like this. Also, let us know where you are watching from and drop your thoughts in the comments.